teams there. Unlimited
Yes.
and Awake. Was it Awake?
Yes, it was Awakening.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, Awakening coming
This.
in super strong in that. I remember them taking a lot of the fights to them
Hmm.
and just kind of steamrolling over them in the early game. But also Vienna Unlimited making a couple key plays there. I think a couple Ardent Gauntlets were really key to kind of separating out some of the ultimates that were coming in.
Hmm.
And Scarf really strong. Cruel. I believe that was a Cruel Scarf
It was the
combination
EU
for
meta, it was,
yeah,
yeah.
the EU meta. So it was quite refreshing to see kind of their take on that, and it's still really successful. So I can see why the EU guys use it.
Yeah, it is still very powerful. It's not Cruel isn't used so much in the EU, but there was the last game between Ardent Allegiant and do you remember Mr. Autocorrect? Ardent Allegiant and
Ardent Allegiant. I'm trying to pull up the lineup
oh, you
from
can't remember
yesterday.
off the top of your head. Oh,
A lot
this
of
is
things going on, man. A lot of things going on.
oh my god, this is the professionalism I have to deal with, stream.
Oh, so you remember? So you remember? Mhm.
Do I remember? Yeah, I remember. I just want to see
Okay.
if you remember.
Right. Sure. It was a weirdly spelled Karma, I believe.
There it was. There we go. I knew that. It was Ardent Allegiant versus Karma. And again, it felt like a very dominant match from Ardent Allegiant. And Karma, again in the second round, it almost felt like they were coming back. But then Ardent Allegiant went, no, 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 we're going to destroy you. So both the teams that we predicted are going to win the Tesseract have moved forwards to this round. And they will be playing off stream today, I believe. But today, we are ready and in the draft. And who is our lineup as of right now, Mr. Autocorrect? As Blackfeather and I believe Glaive will be banned.
Yeah, a lot of like we saw yesterday, a lot of teams are banning out that Glaive
Mm-hmm.
because of his really early game dominance and his ability to counter a lot of the stronger junglers. I doubt we're going to see very many assassins simply because of some of this early game dominance junglers like Glaive and like some of these other characters.
Mm-hmm.
But we did see yesterday a Koshka not doing too poorly yesterday. So we'll see if maybe they'll pull that out here today.
Koshko did actually do quite well. Like for the start of the game, she was doing an absolute multitude of damage, but it seemed to be that she was initiated with her stun, and that left her wildly called out because of the range on it, and the team just couldn't seem to get to her in time, so she just got melted. And then the Glaive would just turn on the Blackfeather, and the Glaive would just be, screw Koshko, I'm just going to go up here. And they took them out that way. But to stop the boring talking, we have a Catherine and Skye pick. Skye against Adagio isn't too bad, but if you miss one full barrage, it can go badly, can't it?
Yeah, I think the advantage obviously with Skye though, and what I keep telling a lot of my guys when they're playing Skye is if you don't have the lock on with the barrage, cancel the barrage right away and just reposition. Continue to use your auto attacks. And I guess yesterday we saw a Skye running a double weapon blade in the early game. You had asked me about that, and I think part of that is if you do miss some of the barrages against the more mobile heroes, then it's always good to have that extra weapon damage just so that you can continue to kite.
Yes, well, thank you for your insight. We're going to be seeing more insight from Autocorrect, and I'll see if I can catch them out for you guys. Don't worry. But for right now, the bans and picks are as follows. We have a Blackfeather and Glaive ban, followed up with the Adagio, Vox, and Arden pick for the side of Infamous. And for the red team, we have Catherine, Ringo, and Skye. Now, Autocorrect, I like to put you in on the spot, so I'm going to do it one more time. Probably a lot more times, actually. But based on the heroes alone, not the players playing them, and you play along in chat, who's going to win this first match of this best of 3?
I mean, for me, the heroes with Ringo and Skye are super strong this patch, and that's who I would probably go with. But don't discount the buffing ability onto a weapon. I believe it's going to be a weapon Vox that can be really, really strong. In the past, that's been even stronger, but they've nerfed it a bit in this latest patch, so it's not going to be as strong. But we've still seen the buff make a big difference in some key plays, so we'll continue to keep our eye on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember there was a little bit of talk of split leveling, or as we like to call it in EU, hyper leveling. Explain to the folks at home how you hyper level, because I'm seeing how they're doing it right now, but there are going to be a lot of players out there who don't know what that is.
Yeah, so
actually, hold that thought.
I think there's going to be a
Sorry.
fight right away.
There is. Who's going to win this fight? We'll get back to that point later as the Adagio, they're trying to chase, but there is a quick rotation from Ringo who's going to come from behind. But look at Sky taking so much damage, but the dodges are real with the Suru Strike. She walks into Vox and manages to get the kill. And now Ringo and Catherine are in a bad position in between Vox, and Ringo's going to try and get the kill on the Arden. But no, the Mercy Pursuit comes up to try and save their lives. But there's the kill on the Catherine. That was a fantastic early fight coming out for the side of Infamous. That was just domination.
Yeah, I mean, and it was amazing because Adagio just kind of went in over by that corner and just sat there, and nobody followed Adagio. Even though Adagio was the target initially and the one with the lowest health, and so he was able to rebuff himself and then come back in and re-engage in the fight, and that's what ultimately killed that Catherine.
I think, but they may be being a little bit too aggressive now. But Sky's taking some minion aggro. It looks like they're going to back off of this one. They're not. Oh, it looks like I'm going to be taking that statement back. But Sky has a health buff. This could be bad for them. But there's the slow. They're going to try and get that energy back. But the Mercy Pursuit does land onto the Adagio. This may save Sky's life before Barrage comes in and try and do some damage. And now the minion aggro is onto Arden, but the vision is clear. Looks like Adagio is going to get the backs of this one. That is a very good play of skill there to not only you miss one camp, but you get the others. Sometimes a death is worth the farm, isn't it?
Yeah, especially in this early game, because it can put you ahead really fast. I think the key thing there, and the reason why I kind of knew they were going to re-engage there, was because they put the scout trap down in that bush. Now, typically, the reason why you do that is because if they're going to push back on you when you show yourself, then you have that as kind of a backup, so that they run into that scout trap, take a huge bunch of damage, and then you can actually counter from that. And so that's kind of your insurance policy for something like that.
Okay, well, let's go back to the subject we had, which was hyper leveling. Let's explain to some of the viewers how you hyper level, because there's some controversy. Some people say you have to get out of range, but in actual fact, what is it?
Well, hyper leveling is essentially where you're allowing the main jungler to have the majority of the experience points from taking farm, but you're still in range to get the gold via the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how
do you achieve this?
So what you need to do is the game says you need to be within 5.6 meters in order to still get the gold. And then that's a nice engagement there from Ringo.
That was incredible. He took the chance. They could have still been in the bush, but he still managed to pick up the kill, and they can have some easy farm. But shorthand, as there's another fight in the jungle. Do you know what? We're going to come back to hyper leveling probably after the game. Yeah, let's have a look at the fight right now. This is infamous gameplay right here, and looks like they're going to try and take out the Catherine on this one, who manages to get away. I think she may have popped her boots there. You'll be able to give me some insight on that. But that is another good engage. I'm not sure if they got the farm. Did you manage to see that one more than I did?
Yeah, I think they got a couple of the farms there. Because they had to back off there. Catherine did use her boots there, so it's 130-second cooldown now. They're all coming into the jungle bush there. Ringo's rotation a bit late on that. I think he felt that they could have taken that fight, which is a bit strange seeing as they're not getting the farm, and hence they shouldn't be able to take those fights. But
yes,
still, I think you're going to see rotation up. Now there's a Catherine does manage to get the stun. Merciless Pursuit hit successfully. Barrage missing and just clipping Zodiac. Zodiac's in trouble. I think we need to see a rotation from the blue team here soon. They're going to take an early minion mine.
They are. They're going to stop that Ringo pushing. It just seems like they don't have enough damage to gank. I mean, they have the perfect opportunity, but I'm going to hold their fort there as their fight happens. And there's the Agent of Wrath running onto Adagio. And look at the damage onto Ringo, but Ringo's trying to hunt down Zodiac with everything he can, but they managed to pick up the kill. Adagio is on fire. This is essentially a 2v3 right now. Will they pick up the ace as Catherine has to use a Merciless Pursuit to get away? There's the Vanguard in, but he's not going to do enough damage. There's the Storm Guard to keep herself alive, and it's just going to be a chase from now on. So that was a very impressive from our Adagio here. Just
that
unbelievable.
Was pretty crazy. I mean, Adagio essentially going ham and just going absolutely nuts right now. He is taking over this game. I mean, you're seeing him covering Vox's retreat with just barely health. Ringo wanted him so bad. He was so diving in on that Vox, and you're just seeing these little green pings coming across and just chunking Ringo off, and him dying right before he could get that Achilles heel shot onto Vox. So really good teamwork.
Do you think that dive was a little bit unnecessary? Do you think Vox was so low that if he joined the fight that he would have just backed off anyway, and he could have come around to help Sky and put himself in a better position?
Oh, well, I don't actually think so, because he managed to actually bait the Ringo into a different direction. So he actually caused Ringo to dive in on him.
I meant the Ringo to not dive in.
Oh, the Ringo not to dive in on the Vox. Okay,
yes.
Yeah, I think his positioning was off completely. He committed to himself coming in, rotating on that front side, knowing that there's two people up on that upper edge of that lane. He needs to be very careful when he does that, because they can quickly turn around and do a 2v1 on him. But, Ringo's, they like overextend.
as you were talking there, autocorrect, so much happened. It was I'm not sure if you saw it, but I'd like to break down this one because Catherine came in and was so far out of position with the most of the shoot. It looks like she just wanted to get a stack off. Then an Ardent Vanguard came in to save her, and then Adagio was like, no, Sky, you're going to die. And just destroyed her. She tried to get the turret, but just died. Again, Infamous are looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that is because they're not really respecting the fact that Rian has already got an altering current in the 6th minute of the game.
It was earlier than that. He got it at about
earlier,
just under 5 minutes. I think he got it.
Okay, which means he's got that. Oh, there comes a nice merciless pursuit.
But he can't do a 1v3. But there's a pound to save his life. The wait for it, silencing the team, and they are just getting absolutely deleted, stuck inside the corner. They can't do anything, and it's the Asu by Vox. He got a triple kill ace. That is unbelievable. He's gonna be happy with that kill to death ratio, I tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of the heavy lifting was done in the beginning. A really good gauntlet from Arden to trap him inside of there, and I think the Vox actually came in on the tail end of that with his ultimate. I mean, so his ultimate really kind of cinched the team fight, but I would have been willing to bet that they could have done a 2v3 at that point just by Adagio and Arden alone. I mean,
well,
his ultimate
was
came in and wiped
low.
him out.
Oh, they know it. What? Oh my god, I am scared. Zodiac is going down though, but Adagio is not scared. He is going flawless. He may be able to pick up this ace one more time. Will they be able to get it? They're going to die for it. And that's another ace within a minute of each other. That is an ace and another turret. Autocorrect, this is insane. Are they trying to beat the record of Infamous Legion at 10 minutes and 12 seconds?
But they're in contention. I think they can do it. I'm rooting for them to do it. But this is crazy. Did you see the amount of deletion happening onto the HP bars? It's crazy. Just it was 2-3 hits and just done. Like he couldn't even move. He was dead before he could even move away.
Yeah. This is why when I draft, I either ban Adagio or I pick Adagio. That's how I play. So if I'm second ban, I'm probably gonna ban Adagio. If he's already banned, I'm gonna ban Glaive. I don't want to go against either of them.
Yeah. And I think that the difference that we're really seeing here with the Adagio is the difference of team fights, coordination fights versus solo queue.
Oh yes, but we'll have to hold that on for a second. But this time it looks like Infamous are a little bit on the back line, a little bit, but Catherine and Arden are equally low. That was a fantastic amount of burst. Looks like they're finally trying to get some damage off, but Sky doesn't really have a tier 3 item just yet. And that one basic attack, no Agent of Wrath, just did so much. And there is a gauntlet to lock both the carries in. This is not good for them as Vox comes in with the ultimate to silence Ringo, who's trying to do the damage that he can, but now Sky is going to be the target of the aggression. What? Just getting deleted so fast. And now Adagio's trying to go hunt for the kill, but Catherine's going to try and waste the time. She's pinged, but I don't think they're going to get the ace on this one. They're not. They may just turn around and push the turrets. Vox just going, yo, I don't want to play. I'm going to chill. Do we have the zoom in function? We're going to zoom in on Vox. We've got no zoom in? No zoom in. Okay, we don't have zoom in anymore. But I'm going to fire the cameraman. I said it yesterday. We'll fire him again. And Catherine is finally picked up. Oh, poor Shield. What? That was so much happened, autocorrect. What were the key points of that fight for you?
Well, I think actually the gauntlet was a key point there. The gauntlet kind of initiated it, and in a lot of cases, the gauntlet is a great initiator, especially in early team fights when maybe not everybody has a reflex block, and you can see only Ringo had a reflex block there in that end, and actually Catherine didn't even have a fountain until just now. So when you see the enemy's builds and you see that they're in a stage of weakness, and you initiate the fights with your gauntlet, that's actually a really great move and kind of set the tone for that entire fight.
It also managed to catch out Catherine outside of the gauntlet and the 2 carries on the inside. It's almost like that was planned. It was so perfect that I don't think they even expected it.
Yeah, well, I think too is their formation right now is they really need to work on the better formation in the sense that you can't have Catherine behind your carries. Your carries should always be behind your Catherine. Catherine being the one, one of the most tanky support heroes in the game, able to just kind of sit there and body block with the Stormguard barrier up, and so they're not really utilizing Catherine in that sense as effectively as they could be. And that's causing a lot of problems with some of these initiations from Infamous right now.
Well, we may see another initiation coming very soon. They're going to try and sewer strike, but the gauntlet finally misses and was not used. He's just standing there. I think he's not happy with that. He was dumbstruck. He's dumbstruck. But that was quite a nice escape from the sewer strike. If that would have been like a second later, I don't think she would have got out of that.
Yeah, and I think it's when you're gonna. I think they're really confident right now in terms of their initiations, and I think if he had maybe flared that just once before he came out there, he might have had a better chance at locking them in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, if you're in this, let's do let's get true analytic skill out here today, because you're very good with your analysis and knowing how the game works and number crunching. Let's say you're in the side of the red team right now. Let's say you're Catherine, you're Li Xing, and you're the shout caller. What are you telling your team? How are you going to proceed against this unbelievably strong Infamous lead?
Well, I think the key aspect is I would ask for some vision on our side of the jungle, especially in this back, and that's what you're seeing Catherine to do right now. There's some vision back there, continuing to retake our minion mine and not overextend, and try to just stick together at this point, and also protect the turret. Push the lane minions as far forward as we can, and then collapse back into our turret and just kind of bide our time, because right now there's a huge difference in levels, in gold, and experience. So we need to kind of try to push the game as long as possible, because we know Infamous is going to be trying to push an early end to this game. And when a team is in that mentality, they're going to be overconfident. They might make a mistake. They might be not have a good position. So we should be ready to capitalize on that.
So they shouldn't be doing kind of what they're doing right now and pushing a little bit, but no, I need that back. They're playing perfectly. They took the mid camp, they took the risk, and then they backed off immediately. They didn't even wait there for a second too long. That's what they need to do right now. They need to wait, and then they'll all be level 12.
Exactly, and also Catherine flared that tri-bush before they took it, so they had some warning. So they knew exactly that there wasn't anybody there, so they could take that.
Oh yeah, but we are definitely seeing a farm difference in jungle. Why don't you take a look at that between the Sky and the Adagio?
Yeah, he just hit over 100 CS in the jungle in under 13 minutes there, which is crazy.
That's
amount
pretty
of farm
impressive.
Versus 30 farm from.
But here may
be
the mistake. But the boots followed up by the gauntlet, and now this is going to be bad for Kanye, who just gets deleted. There, it's not the engage they needed. They thought they caught him out, but the blast tremor took too long, and there it is. And he's going to try and pick up the kill on Zodiac, but will get absolutely deleted by the damage of the Vox. Sky is just falling so fast. You've overextended now. You've had that fight. What are you telling your team this time as they push for these turrets?
Don't overextend.
Don't do that again. Essentially, is that what you'd be telling your team?
Yeah, I mean that's just it's complete mind-boggling that they would go into a team fight against a level 12 Adagio with them being level 10s and level 8s. And
I think it's because they thought they could catch out Fox, and I think because they didn't have the vision, they didn't know where they were. I think they might have put the bet on that they're in the back camps or something, and they could catch out this Fox who was overextended. But no. Quick boots from Arden up there with a gauntlet, and they were not going anywhere anytime soon.
I mean, it was a superb bait, maybe, is what Nero would be telling us in an interview. Oh, we meant for him to be overextended because that was completely a bait.
No, not just Vox being a little bit confident. No, that was 100% bait. But we may see another engage here today, and we are, but they're going a little bit too pressurous, but the death and buff is there, but look at the damage! Poor little Catherine gets absolutely deleted, and she is the tank as the wave for it comes out, silencing both carries. No, she managed to block the silence, but my lord, will the rebounds damage kill her? It does! The resonance killed her! And then Vox picks up Ringo, and I think this may be game, but we can't count them out at all. The Vein Crystal is destroyed. Is this GG? Are you calling it already? GG. Well, stream viewers, I'm not an autocorrect, so I can't count the game out until the Vein Crystal is destroyed, but it looks like it's going to be destroyed very, very soon. And versus Judgment, explosion! There we go. That is Infamous taking the first game of this best of 3, and the Catherine just goes down because overkill. And that, we have some stuff to talk about right now, autocorrect, don't we? Starting off with that last fight, and then the builds.
Well, I mean, again, forcing fights when you're that far down is just it's never going to end well. I mean, you just got to look at the numbers and you got to look at the builds. You're never going to win those fights. So your best bet is to kind of play a little bit defensive, put some scout traps so you know where they are, try to get the farm that you can, and then hopefully try to get the levels up in the end game. But obviously this is really tough for them because they were just super unleveled and super underfarmed in most of this game, and that's never going to end well.
So let's have a look at the builds right now. What I want to focus on immediately is Zodiac is a feeder. He died twice, and the other guys went flawless. I'm just kidding. He's not a feeder. He played absolutely fantastically. But the real thing I want to focus on is that Arden was so confident, so far ahead. He started building a Sorrow Blade.
Yeah. I mean, and actually, he could have. He could have
Mm.
totally. Actually, I probably would have built out a tension bow instead because it's cheaper and you'll get it sooner. But I mean, why not? This is the thing with tanks. If your team doesn't need it, don't buy it,
Don't buy it.
right?
Yeah. Like with a Fortress, if I'm playing Fortress and my team's ahead, I'm going to buy an Aftershock after my Warhorn. Like I will go Fountain Warhorn, see how the
Definitely.
game's going. If it's a little bit close, I'm more than likely going to buy another support item. But if we're winning fights like consistently, I'm going to buy an Aftershock and make sure we stay ahead.
Definitely. I
Mm.
mean, I think too. I mentioned this yesterday, but if you're this far behind, rather than just putting all your money into waiting until the very end to put your money into one tier 3 item,
Hmm.
like for instance the Sky, waiting and waiting and waiting to under with 34 CS, spending all your money on one tier 3 item, you might be better off spreading your money across a bunch of tier 2s or tier 1s, just so you can get that coverage and that burst of power early.
Hmm.
Because when you're stuck in kind of this limbo between a tier 2 and a tier 3, it can take a long time if you're really losing out on farm to get
Mm.
that. In the meantime, you're not going to have any power to push against fights or against initiations, and so that may be something that these guys consider in the future.
Yeah, well, that's good insight there at the builds for anyone that's interested. Infamous taking the first round of this best of 3 in the Tesseract, the SEA tournament, where the best of the best go against each other for fame, glory, and riches, backed by Mob Crush. Any statistics that you may be interested in, kills, death, anything you can think of, will be over on Fame Glory. So go and check that out. And do you know what, autocorrect?
What?
I am ready for the next match, and I'm sure these viewers are too. So let's check if the
Yep,
players are
let's get it
ready and see
going.
if we can get into it. Person in my ear, can you get this game going? Can you do it for us? He's gonna
There we
reply to
go.
me. Did we get? Oh,
We're
there we
all set.
go. Look at that. He listens. He doesn't zoom in because he's a scrub and he doesn't, he doesn't activate his camera. But we are we are ready and we are into the draft now. Infamous will be on your right hand side. The trailers behind will be on your left hand side, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a Black Feather ban here today. Another ban. But when we started this tournament, you said Black Feather isn't so prevalent in SEA. Why are people banning him?
Well, I mean, it's not that he's not prevalent. It's just that he's not played because people are batting him all the time.
Oh, okay. I
So, I
see.
mean, as soon as you get him, the difference, the impact that he makes just by virtue of the fact that he's in your lineup is
Hmm.
so overpowering and so
What?
overwhelming that
Sorry,
there's
but
a
they
rhyme
banned
ban.
Rhyme. They've banned Rhyme. So what are you thinking they're going to pick up? Because I think that this pickup that they've just picked now is a very good pickup to pick to take away from
I think they're gonna
these
pick up
guys.
I think they might pick up a Sky.
Oh yeah, she does have troubles with Rhyme actually, believe it or not, because of she had, believe people don't believe it, but she doesn't actually have a lot of range. But she can kite very effectively. But we'll see what they want, because if they're banning Rhyme, Adagio is such a fantastic counter, and now he's left open. Rhyme can
Right.
do nothing, and they picked up Adagio. My
Yeah.
ban would have been better spent banning that Glaive.
And if I'm Matic Fatal, I would ban the Adagio and not Black Feather.
Yeah, because it went so well last time.
Yeah.
The Adagio may have been a better band, but these guys are the players. We're not the players. They seem to have strategies, and we'll see if we'll critique them later, see if they pay off. Because you never know. Maybe Infamous had an idea. Maybe their last pick will surprise us so much, and then we'll realize why they banned Rhyme, and then we'll realize why these guys banned Blackfeather. Scarf, Blackfeather counters it beautifully. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why they banned Blackfeather. But
Right.
looks like Infamous going to go with. Actually, we won't say why because I've just realised these guys have the next pick. So we'll
Yeah.
say that in a
But we
second.
do
But we've
have a
got 5
Scarf pick.
seconds. We
So
do. I
Matic
like
did
Scarf.
pick up a Scarf
Yeah.
pick, which is a good pick, I think, especially against an Adagio, because he can stay far enough away and not get Arcade Fire on him all the time,
Hmm.
and that's always a great thing. And then, of course, his scalability in the late game he's gonna scale up right when Adagio scales down, so
Hmm.
that's gonna be a great thing for them. I rather like this. They did pick up a Fortress now as the support. That's the only thing I'm a bit worried about.
I like
You and I
Fortress.
differ on this.
Against
Um,
an Adagio though, this is kind of a completely different ballpark because then against an Adagio you need to beat him in the early game, and Glaive is one of those heroes who can do that. And with the power of the burst of the Fortress and the stickiness, if he uses his A after the slow is used, it can almost, it doesn't completely counter the slow, but it keeps them going so that Adagio can't get away. And if that afterburn is used effectively, Adagio will not be able to farm. My money right now is on the underdogs.
yeah, based on the team comp, I would
Wait,
have to
what?
agree as well.
Scarf's in the jungle.
That's interesting.
Right,
Oh, because
well,
Vox is okay.
that doesn't make sense.
Well, actually, if you think
Does it
about
make
it,
sense?
it makes sense because if
Oh
it
yes,
was
Scarf counters
Adagio in
Adagio
the
as
lane,
well.
then it
Ah.
wouldn't be good. But because Vox is in the lane, Glaive can definitely counter that because Vox doesn't have much power in the early game, and with that Book of Eulogies, Glaive is going to be able to pretty much take any poking from Vox.
Oh, okay, I see. So let's after this next fight, we'll talk about hyper leveling and tell people how to do it and how to do it effectively because this is going to be a hard engage. Oh, Fortress is playing beautifully, and the miss on the Spitfire, but the goop does land, and then the Adagio doing so much damage. Scarf has to back off. This is why I may have preferred the Glaive, but the Glaive is rotating, and this is going to be a 1v2. Oh, it may have been a good idea, but not for Scarf to sit so close. He needs to be able to poke from a distance. That wasn't a good engage coming up for my Fortress team.
Yeah, and this is why everybody and this I'm puzzled why they didn't flare again after that because this is why when I play Roam I like to actually get 2 flares in the beginning, one to flare right when we're coming into the jungle bush and then one when we're shopping so that they can see that.
Ooh.
And look at the Cane Fire and that damage buff just taking out Fortress. Scarf nowhere near to help out and they're losing out on this farm now.
They are, but will Scarf secure it? Will he secure it? He needs a Spitfire, but it's down in 1 second. He does not able to get it. And there's a Spitfire Goop combo, saved the brunt of it by the Vanguard. But let's talk about Hyper Leveling very quickly. This is just going to be a little skirmish. Scarf's going to try and steal what he can. They probably won't get much from it. Let's shorthand, how do you Hyper Level?
Well, all you do is as a roam is you get the aggro on the first initial ones and then you back off. So then you start the next camp while your jungler is finishing the first camp minions. And as long as you're within a certain distance, you can get still the healing and the money from it, but also the jungler gets the majority of the XP. So when they're coming into this second healing minion or after the second healing minion, they should be level 2 already.
Just to reiterate, when you know that you're out of range and you're still in range at the same time is when the minions turn around and start attacking your jungler because they have to, I believe they actually have to hit the jungler. Oh my god! Glaive just destroys Vox, but they actually have to hit the jungler, so you know that's when you know your limit. That's when you know you're outside of the range and your jungler will hit level 2 fast enough. That's correct, right?
Yeah. Also, a lot of it is kind of you can also use the map itself as a judge. So like for instance, like this bush here that you see the Scarf just walk through, the one right in mini camp, that like frog right there, that's where the aggro disappears. So you can actually use that as a gauge too. So it's like from there to the minion camp, that's like the distance. So where the scout trap is and that frog is, that's about the distance you need to be in between all the minion camps. So if you could just eyeball that and say, okay, that's about 5.3 meters or so, 5.4 meters. That's kind of the distance. It's the same with like the bottom 2 lower minion camps and the top one. There's you can see that there's about the same distance. So if he gets pulled down maybe a little bit towards the top of this bush here, and as long as there's that much space in between him and those bottom 2, that'll be the distance that you can still get.
And that is how you hyper level. The short version. That was it? Sorry.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That probably was the short version. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
There's definitely be a long version.
You tell me about that later. But right now, again, Infamous and what appears to be comfort picks. There can be no doubt about that. Are dominating. Dominating is a strong word, but they seem to be, even though they're behind in kills, they're ahead in farm, and they're doing superbly. And we see that Adagio is just living in the blue team's backs.
Yeah, and they keeps doing that. But the only difference we're seeing here is a much stronger, more aggressive counter jungling style from Fnatic here, Fatal, Matic.
Fatal.
And
Fatal
they're actually doing a good job of counter juggling here and picking up the farm. So you're not seeing such a massive difference here like we did in the first couple minutes of the first game.
But we're going to see a hard engage here. Who's going to get this farm? And Scarf does manage to clear the entire team backed, but Adagio is waiting for that Agent of Wrath. He's going to use it perfectly. There it is, and it's on Arden this time. He's starting to do some serious damage, but just not much damage at all. And there is the kill on the Scarf. KJ couldn't do much, and there was no rotation from the Glaive. And now it's going to be a hard 2v3, and I wonder what they're going to be able to do. Is I think Glaive just had a cheeky shot there. Wouldn't be surprised to saw the ultimate through the wall. There it is to punt the Vox away, and they will both get away. But there will be some heavy counter jungling happening, and they're just going to try and secure the backs. Who's going to get these backs? Who's going to get it?
Yeah, I think Scarf should rotate down here and maybe catch him out into 3v2, and here it is.
Let's see where it goes.
So
Solo Q comes back
Arden
in.
with those initial hits, though.
What?
Bit interesting.
There we go. Now he did swap his aggro to Adagio there, who's still burning and just went under half health, but he on his own brought Fortress and Solo Q down even further. But now Zodiac has been called out by the Afterburn. The Blood Song comes out, but the basic attack is the thing that picks him up. And wouldn't be surprised if I see an Adagio rotation into lane. No, he's going straight. He's got a beeline for his backs. He knows. This is a very experienced player, and he knows what's down. Oh. Will KJ fall? And Adagio snipes the farm! KJ will fall first, and there's the Goop to try and slow him down, but the body check on the Spitfire from the Arden. This is not looking good for our boys in blue.
Yeah, and here comes Zodiac right in to get a kill there, using his boots to get in as well. But you know, the thing is though is that despite everything, I feel like the blue team, you know, Matic is still doing a better job than we saw in the first team as far as they're making core decisions, quick decisions to go back. Some really nice ganks from Glaive onto the Vox in the early game. So, you know, I really don't think that this is end game yet. They've still got a pretty good opportunity to come back here.
I mean, they're not that far behind. They are behind. Don't get us wrong. They're about 2k behind, and especially as a gold miner, is being picked up now. They will extend that lead, but there's no way our blue team is out of this. Just like you said, by any means, shape, or form. But what do they need to do? Is this another turtling situation, or is this another try and catch out that Adagio while he's being confident situation?
I think they need to continue to do the lane game as they're trying to do. Try to catch the Vox out when they can with the Glaive. But Glaive rotating down, as you're seeing, he kind of just playing a little bit babysitting there. That's what he needs to be doing a lot more now. Then clear his lane farm and then go ahead and rejoin his junglers. So his rotation is going to be really important. The more he can rotate down and help his team, the better it's going to be. Because as soon as, you know, Rihan and Lipan figure out that their laner is going to be rotating faster, they're going to be less apt to kind of just bomb into their jungle.
Well, let's hope we see that, as there is a rotation into the lane and KJ just gets slowed by the Adagio, and now we're going to see Glaive waiting with that afterburn. He doesn't use it to immediately disengage, which is a nice, good core skill there, and KJ's taking far too many shots. Adagio is going for him, but the Goop is actually doing a serious amount of damage now. We see Ryan just backing off there, Rihan, backing off. And now Solo Q is going to try and protect this turret best he can. He knows he can't engage. Vox knows he's safe as a Spitfire goes in between the support and the jungler. I can't keep this hyped up for much longer. Autocorrect. Save me. Oh, and they dive in on turret.
Yeah, they're going to dive in on this.
Oh,
they're going to dive in on the Keen Fire doing so much damage. They're taking turret shots now. Oh, is it going to... Oh,
the reflex block clutch.
Turret shot, but you know, he's got a self-heal, so I think he's okay. Now, I think that was a huge strategic error there for the team, to back off when you know the enemy is going to be sitting up there and pushing that turret. Why, oh why does Scarf peel off there? They needed to all sit up there until they were sure that the enemy was not going to push forward on that turret, because seeing that Glaive was alone in the turret was basically the green light for them to go ahead and push.
And the Adagio almost died. Like, if he had at least a scarf there, like one good afterburn would have finished him off, and that would have deterred the turret push.
Yeah, exactly. Having the scarf there is really important because he's the only one that can really poke.
And we're seeing some damage come in. I hope Glaive doesn't use that twisted stroke on the support, but look at the damage coming out from Adagio, and they're going to catch him out. Adagio on his own could have killed him. I think that gauntlet was a bit of a panic secure gauntlet, wasn't really necessary, but it did help in picking up the kill regardless. Kind of.
Well, I didn't think it was just wasted. No point. I mean, Adagio is going to kill him for sure. But I guess, you know, it is what it is. And looks like he's going to pick up the kill on that Glaive. Wow. So they're not afraid to use their ultimates to make sure they pick up that kill. I think even Vox without the ultimate could have still killed. But wow.
Oh my god!
On the other side.
Fountained. Scott got fountained and still died. Like, the fountain projectile hit him, you saw the healing start to take effect, and then one blood for blood and the basic attack from the empowered basic attack with the Agent of Wrath just deleted him. I feel so bad for the baby dragon.
Yeah, I think really what it is, though, is it's not so much, you know, items right now. I mean, items are playing a part, but it's really now the leveling differences is a huge difference right now. So we're seeing, you know, at one point, when they had that fight, 2 level differences, KJ is at level 6 versus a level 10, and this is one of the reasons why Rihan keeps targeting him, because he knows he can just chunk him down really quick and make him peel off in the team fights, and that's why he's targeting the Fortress. He's a level 6, Rihan's a level 10.
Pretty much do the mass, bish bash biddy boop.
Yeah.
Do you like that saying?
You don't need a calculator. You don't need a calculator.
You don't need a calculator to do the difference between 6 and 10. What are you? Bad at maths? I'm not. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. I couldn't make it funny. I'm just awful. But back to the match. What are we seeing in the builds right now? Is anything striking you as peculiar at all?
No, I don't really see anything peculiar. They're all standard, all around. Alternating current again, a really nice item now with that speed increase, especially for Adagio. I mean, going from that 40% to 65% is ridiculous in terms of the attack speed increase. So with him in the early game and with the damage buff, you can see how much it's doing. That's a really nice gauntlet, lands onto Glaive, but he afterburns away. KG! KG!
The counter attack of the back is doing it. It did its work. He's got the bleed on, but now they're just going to pressure this tower. The group there, I'm not sure why it was placed there, but it was. And now within one turret taken, I think they could have at least tried to burn down the minions by the very least, but they were so scared right now. They just backed off so fast.
We're seeing Panic just run rampant through the ranks of Fnatic right now, or Fatal. I keep saying Fnatic, I don't know why.
I don't know, maybe they're fanatically Fatal.
It's Matic Fatal combined means Fnatic, I guess.
We'll just call them Fnatic from now on.
Well, they were definitely Fnatic in that last fight, just completely letting KJ just get absolutely burned down. You know, again, this is the problem with a tank that's super underleveled. If he dies in the first 2 seconds of the match, then you're never going to have that team defense items around. So that's the real problem here. And he needs to get leveled up really quick as soon as he can before they do any more team fights, in my opinion.
I mean, he's only about 600 gold behind in the Ironguard contract. Maybe not even that. The farm is it's actually in favor of the Glaive. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, I thought Glaive was jungle. I completely forgot they put him in lane. But Infamous is higher up in the CS, but there's another fight, and the Verse of Judgment is going down. And he 777 damage with the Verse of Judgment with a reflex blocked Scarf. Oh my god! How is that possible?
Is the ace. It's possible because he had 5 stacks onto that Broken Myth. That's what he had. So he had a full stack of Broken Myth, and you know, reflex block ain't nothing when you're facing that kind of crystal power.
It isn't. It's just insane. But Vox is diving in. Zodiac don't care. Zodiac he's gonna start giving kills over to the team again. I think, is he the only one who's died? No, Arden's died as well. So he's not stopping the team going flawless. But Rehan might go flawless again in this match, and that does show the power of Adagio, doesn't it?
Yeah, and again, you know, you go back to the jungle game, their inability to focus in on that Adagio in the beginning really let him get fed and get that enough weapon speed, and that's really all you need for early game.
Oh, and they committed to the fight, but they didn't commit hard enough. As Soloku, they do manage to pick up the fortress, but the Fountain is spot to try and keep the Glaive alive, and he is Atlas. The Glaive is Atlas Pauldron, but the damage from Scarf may be enough, and I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that back. There's another ace coming up for the side of Infamous. They want to finish this game. They're going to take this minion miner. Do you think we're going to see a hard push here, or just like a little push?
I would see. I mean, if I were them, they're probably going to just go collapse back and probably take all the farm, maybe take the gold mine here. Yeah, it looks like they're going to take the gold mine here because there's a huge minion wave up, and they're already up. Blue team's already up now in that. So I think they're just going to clear all the farm, maybe infuse up.
Tiny gold payout collected.
Maybe, as Arden has picked up a Warhorn, we're definitely seeing the difference in the tank. I mean, our Fortress here only has a tier 3 Fountain, that's all he has, but our Arden has a Warhorn, a Fountain, tier 2 boots, and an Atlas Pauldron, and is starting towards that Sorrow Blade, it looks like.
Yeah, and don't forget, I mean, we've been focusing a lot on Adagio and the power that he's done. Don't forget that the Vox has now got that Tyrant's Monocle, which I feel is really powerful when you combine with Sorrow Blade, especially on him, and he's got that Blazing Salvo, so he's going to start really chunking out and deleting people as well. And you just watching this next team fight, he's going to do tons of damage. If he gets a damage buff on top of that, he will absolutely delete the enemy team.
I mean, look at this. He wants to fight on his own. And there's KJ trying to block him in, but Vox is going straight to the back line. He wants to try and pick up this scarf, but KJ is going to be the first one to fall as Glaive tries to do the damage that he can onto them. Not really doing too much damage to Adagio, to Glaive, because he doesn't have that Agent of Wrath. But there we go. There is the stun. The silence misses both the carries. Kind of a wasted ultimate on Vox's part. He wasn't just able to get them with it. They were too close to their base. But I don't think they're going to be able to push turrets too well here. This is where Scarf is going to have to come in on his own. He's going to have to poke them down. He's going to have to try and hit as many as he can and stop missing the Spitfires, and he should be okay. But they dive on the turret autocorrect. I'm not sure if this turret's going to stand much longer. The turret's monocle really doing work. 227 per hit, and Glaive falls to the Adagio. It looks like he was trying to body check, but he fell, and they're going to clear these wolves. Another wasted ultimate coming out from there. And look at the damage! Oh,
that was a damage buff. Yeah.
It looked like Adagio had it on himself.
Yeah,
Adagio's got it on himself. Mixed it with. Oh, I see. With it. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
so the damage together, damage combined. Oh, I get you. But that was this. The Vein Crystal is shattered by Aversive Judgment. That is Infamous taking a very fantastic 2-0 sweep. That last fight was fun. It was impactful. That is the Tesseract. That is how the games are going to go, and that is how the games are going to stay. Let's have a look at the build, Mr. Autocorrect. What do you like? What do you dislike? What do you see? What do you think could be improved?
Well, I mean, we're definitely seeing the Scarf not doing a really good job poking that in that game. He's not getting any amount of crystal damage. Again, rushing Broken Myth, I feel, is not always a great decision when what your team needs is a backline poker to kind of prevent people from rushing in on you, which is what he needed to do. He missed several spit shots in that last team fight, you could see. And on top of that, he doesn't have much defense. He's got a reflex block and a light armor. So, I mean, a lot of that comes back down to just lack of gold, too. I mean, 3,696, 3,438, 5,907. That's not a lot of gold when you compare the 6 to 7K that Infamous had, double their gold, and so that's a big problem. So then you need to decide where should you be spending your gold to get the maximum bang for your buck. With Scarf, it's really the damage at that point because he's going to be poking. He's got that super long range. He's got a 3-second cooldown on a Spitfire. Those type of things mean you need to provide some damage. One Broken Myth not going to do enough. Looking at Glaive, of course, Starblade's fine. He lacked a little bit in defense as well. I mean, they're trying to counter with the armors against the Vox, but the Vox really didn't, he wasn't the one responsible for winning a lot of these team fights. Actually, in the beginning first half of the game, it was all Adagio. So why not build counter to Adagio early and then build out armor against the Vox later?
Looks like that's exactly what Solo Q did, though. He has got that fully completed Aegis. Like, it's his first item, essentially, it looked like.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. And then looking on Infamous' side, everything here pretty standard. I mean, it's a 16-minute game, right? You're not going to see tons and tons of final builds here, but that early altering current from Rihan, super key just to lock in, because when he's got that damage buff up with that 65% attack speed, he's going to absolutely wreck. I think the Broken Myth there is even unneeded in a lot of sense. I would say, even if he had gotten more crystal like a Frostburn, it would have been even better. He could have just completely overrode them because only the Glaive had that Aegis, and considering at one point there were like